Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, people of the known world. There he's doing his spin. Welcome to the weekly dust up for the Studio Rats. It's live stream number 134. I am not James Ivy.
You're like a better looking version.
You are Lothario, smooth-tongued devil that you are. There's my good pal, Mr. Paul Drew, and everyone is welcome. Paul's going to drive tonight because I can't see the comments. I'm going to do a slightly more streamlined version of James. Whereabouts is he? Somewhere on the continent, isn't he?
He's in Germany. He's
Right.
testing microphones. That's all I can say.
Right.
I don't know. It's like James has been involved with this company now for a little while, and there's some things coming out. I don't know James's actual involvement. I think it's more of a consultation basis, but I think it could lead to more than that, which is fantastic for James.
Good for him.
I guess we do the usual stuff. See what we've been up to this week. Anything musical?
I have, well, a couple of things. I have been playing. Paul very kindly, dear viewer, gave me a Boss board. What's it called? A BC90? Is it BCB90?
BCB90, yeah.
Yeah, lovely thing it is too. And I have loaded that up with a Boss DM1, a exotic. Sorry, not DM1, DS1. Apologies.
Oh,
yeah. An exotic AC Plus. Lovely bit of kit. That goes into the tuner. That goes into the front of the amp if I'm using something with an effects loop. And then effects send goes to TC Nova modulator, into TC X4 delay, into Strymon Big Sky, then back to the amp.
Nice.
And I mentioned this for a number of reasons. I'm assuming Pet's knocking about. Hello, Pet. He made reference to wanting to get a Vox type sound thing a couple of weeks back. And I thought, well, if I go and do the volume stuff with the guys when they do those videos, couldn't do it in the end for one reason or another, I could take my Laney LC30, which is that Voxy jingle jangle sound, but a fraction of the cost. I picked that thing up about 15 years ago for, I think, 120 quid, maybe 150 quid. Ridiculously cheap, given that it's a valve amplifier. And so a couple of weeks ago, I used that amp with that pedal board. But then this week, hence your question, what have I been up to? I just didn't bother going effects loop. I went straight out of the tuner into the Nova modulator, and then all of it into the front of that Reverb Deluxe 2 that I got, the Fender.
Yeah.
And chalk and cheese, night and day. The sounds this week just stratospherically better. So am I opening the can of worms to the comments of, should you even bother with effects loops? Should everything just go in the front? I've just watched the Premier Guitar rig rundown of Ariel Posen's live gig, or live rig rather, which I thought would be nice for us to have a chat about based on our going there a few months back. It was October, wasn't it, last year? To see him or hear him. He goes straight in the front as well, and he doesn't sound half bad, does he?
No. Yeah. He's using so you're going in the front now. Well, the thing is, like, the thing about effects loops are that they're not all equal.
Exactly.
So you can get, like you can get a Friedman amp which has an amazing effects loop. It's just a great sounding effects loop. Why they all don't use that circuit, I don't know. And you can go and buy a Two Rock, which we're going to be talking about in a minute. You go and buy a Two Rock, terrible effects loop.
It's bizarre, isn't it? And you would think, given the price tag on one of those things, that they'd have figured that out, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, it's the Dumble circuit. So this is,
Right,
I don't know if this is all Two Rocks, but it's the Dumble circuit. So you have to go and buy something called a dumbulator.
Yeah.
So what did I go and buy? Went to go and buy the equivalent of that sort of thing, but pedal form.
Right. Yeah.
To make it half decent, and even then, it's just not worth it. As you can see,
why. Bizarre, isn't it? Yeah, bizarre.
And the match list, don't put an effects loop in it. Anyway, I whinge. Everyone's going to get fed up because I whinge about the match list effects loop all the time. Best sounding amp in the world, as far as I'm concerned, but terrible effects loop.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that GSM 900 back, so I can mess around with that as well. Because I've not used that in anger in terms of
well, we should talk about
a lot of effects through it. Well, yeah, quite. Yeah, I think that whole, well, certainly the pair of videos. It's a shame James isn't here, so we can get an update on whether or not there's still a pulse in that DSL.
Yeah. By the way, mate, you're looking like a hobbit.
Am I? Is that right?
Yeah. Bring that back a little bit. There you are. There's
that better? Yeah, there we go. I'm advertising the competition.
Good man. So if anyone didn't see this, James and myself, well, I went over James's studio last week. Was it last week?
I think it was 2 weeks. Yeah. No, yeah, it was last week, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I went over there last Tuesday, and we had we did like a big shootout with a bunch of 100-watt amps. And Greg lent us he's got a JCM 900 100-watt combo. That thing just sounds
I was pleasantly surprised at the sounds that I've heard of it. Yeah.
Gosh, it was so. It's that is like, how much did you pay for that?
It's less than 300 quid. eBay secondhand.
It is criminal. It's such a great
standard, isn't it? When you think of, I mean, that one that you released this week, where you'd found this is what the equivalent Marshall these days costs, and it's into 4 figures.
Yeah.
I just think, I know a lot of, the likes of this stream and a number of others that we all enjoy is built on people having gas and wanting to go and buy things, but eBay is your friend, is it not? Reverb, Facebook Marketplace.
I did get, because you sent me that. You sent me the eBay link before you bought it. You said, you boys should go and buy one of these. And I was like, I was really tempted, but I didn't want to go and pick it up. That was the first thing.
Yeah.
And I always think, oh, it's vintage. I know with my luck, I'm going to get it back. And it's
be a dog.
It's going to need like everything doing to it. It's going to cost me a fortune. So I was like, you know what? I don't need an amp. I don't need to take up any more space with amps. But after hearing that, it just sounds fantastic. I'm gutted I didn't go for that because that is such a great amp.
Yours for $1,000, my friend.
Good deal. Do some questions.
Yes, let's jump in. Just before we begin, I'm just going to let the people know I'm still eating. So
what are you eating?
It's just stir fry, pork, prawns, few veg, bit of noodles.
Yeah.
All good.
Nice,
avoiding the gluten, as is the way with you and I.
Yeah, good man. So Jeff Cook became a YouTube member this morning. Thanks, Jeff. That's a fantastic. And do you know what I should do? I'm going to do a quick membership shout out. So Jeff, thanks, Jeff. Pet, Moxie, Max Hodges, Plato Jack, Shep Shepherd, Rex Strother, Brett Spencer, Keith Milner, Neil Conway, Mick Scheuer, Cowboy Studios, Phil McNally, Dave Pavo, John Green, Mike Ayton, and Ruben Saragoza. Thank you so much, guys, for your support and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, some nice familiar names there as well.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, let's do some questions.
If you're thinking about becoming a member, why not like in the meantime and see how that sits with you? Because I know it helps the guys out when you keep the YouTube algorithm monkeys happy.
It really does. Yeah. Greg's right. If you guys, just click on the like button if you're getting something out of it, because it really does help. D Max says, "Hey guys, really liked your amp video. Really cool katana result. Also, hope your ears survived okay." Well, both James and I were both wearing earplugs.
Proper plugs. Yeah,
I've got ACS ones which are like, they're molded. You have to go and, I think they cost you about 150 quid. You go and get your ear molded, and they fit in perfectly. So yeah, there was no danger of us hurting ourselves or whatever.
Yeah,
even though like it was, you could feel the pressure from the amps.
Yeah, the level of distortion, not distortion, but the sound that was coming through when you were getting the feedback in between playing, you could tell that was absolutely earth-shattering.
It was so loud. And James's 4x12 just sounds mega. And the katana, we couldn't believe it.
I was astounded. Yeah.
Like, we've always, like, James and I have always, we love the katana, but we've always mocked the difference between valve watts and solid state watts, and just blew it all out of the water. So
how do Boss do it? It's really intriguing. I continue to goad you about this, I know, Paul, but we've got to get those next tone ones. I want to see what
and I've got a next tone here, so
exactly. I want to see that against Katana as well.
Yeah. That's a good shout. We'll do that. Daniel says, "Good evening, rats, from sunny and cool North Carolina."
Lovely.
Good evening, Daniel. Brent says, "Evening all. Hope all is well. Great video on the amp loudness comparison. Cheers, Brent." Sophie says, "Hello, good evening, Paul, James, and chaps." And James actually might join us.
Oh, right.
Depends if he gets back to the hotel. He's probably having a couple of beers, and he's not going to bother.
I know what I'd sooner be doing if I was on the continent.
Yeah, have some nice beers, wouldn't you? Alan Rice, he said, "Evening, guys. Enjoyed the amp volume video and the Katana patches. Thanks for the brilliant content. Cheers, Alan." What's he got? He's got that's a nice telly, isn't it? Look at that. Look at that. Bogeyman, good evening all. Evening,
Bogeyman.
David Olson. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year to all.
And to you, David.
And Shahar says, "Hey, Greg."
Nice to see you, mate. It's nice, this Wednesday thing. I know we see a lot of the same faces and we talk about a lot of the same stuff, but it's just good fun, isn't it? It's like in the olden days when you used to go down the pub and see your mates.
Exactly. I know. I look forward to it. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite things we do on the with the channel.
Yeah. Hand pink waving.
What's hand pink waving?
Is that
an emoji? It's probably like an emoji.
I wonder if that's what's it called? StreamYard trying to make sure that nothing bad happens by not letting emojis appear.
It could be. Shahar says, "Paul, mouth of the South crew. What have I done? What have I said?"
I think that's just because you are so terribly southern.
In
a nice way, of course.
So London. Jeff Cook, good morning from Brisbane. Good morning, Jeff, and thanks again for your support. Shep says, "Evening all. Evening, Shep."
Is Jeff an Englishman in Australia? I know that he's got his Monty Python handle there.
Yeah.
Is he? Has he just thought, "I've had enough of all this cold, wet Northern Hemisphere business. I'm off down to Brizzy. See how life is on the Gold Coast." Let us know, Jeff. On we go.
Yeah, he wouldn't. And are you sick of it?
Oh, mate, I love Blighty. I love this place.
Oh no! I love England. Absolutely love it. But this
but I've been to Brisbane as well. This time of year, as you rightly say, and it's dark when I leave the house in the morning. It tends to be dark when I get back. Yeah. I wouldn't mind, being within spitting distance of those Blue Mountains and all the rest of it over Brisbane way. Another Brisbanian.
Yeah, did I say Shep, evening Shep? I can't remember if I showed that one.
We did, yeah.
Stephen, good day from Brisbane. Good evening, good day, Stephen. Safety says, "The best use for effects loop could be to insert another tube preamp." That's probably true.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. So I guess if you've got the thing is, it's the way that certain amps work. So if you've got something like a Vox style amp, apparently it's got. This is what I've been told. There's so much coming from the preamp stage, going into the power amp. That's what makes it a bad effects loop.
I see.
But yes, Safety, that's good. That's a good shout. CM079 says 2 loops on the Marshall JVM. I didn't know that. It said 2 loops on it.
We only use the serial as a parallel as a major tone. Interesting.
He says, "I can only use the serial as a parallel as a major tone suck on my unit." That's really interesting. I didn't know it had 2 loops on it.
All right.
Alexi K, I have a JCM 900 100-watt combo with the 2 speakers. That's the same as Greta's good.
Solidarity, brother.
That's a monstrous amp. Chris, good evening, everyone. Evening, Chris.
Hello, mate.
Weighs just a bit too much,
doesn't it? Just it's just bonkers, isn't it? The band that James used to play in a lot, the Talents,
Yeah.
I used to dip in there every now and then, and they used to have coffin speakers for the PA. I'm a short man. I'm 5'8" on a good day if I've had a long sleep, and they weren't far short of my height. But the weight of those things, it was like moving a coffin. Astonishing.
Yeah.
That JCM 900, I don't think it's far off. It's crazy heavy.
It's not far off. It's not far off at all. Shahar says the Marshall 2203 is ridiculously priced and it's ridiculously simple circuit. What is the 2203? Is that the 900?
I think so. Is that the one I got? I'm not sure. Yeah, you have a go. Whilst you're searching for that, I will say, Shahar, that Paul and James got hold of a studio
C800.
The vintage, was it? Because you had all three at one stage, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had the vintage, the classic, and the Jubilee.
The vintage one, if you look for, I can't remember if it's Headrush or Headroom amplifiers out of Australia, there's a chap there who delves deep into the circuitry of all Marshalls, and he looked at the studio vintage one and also the Origin 20, and the way that those PCBs are made up, you think that is a hella big difference between the cost of the studio vintage against the cost of the Origin 20 head, for what looks like a remarkably similar thing. Very, very little difference between the two in terms of how the innards look, the guts of it look.
I think it's probably where they're made.
Exactly that, yeah. So it's hand assembled in the UK, isn't it, your one?
Yeah.
As opposed to the cheapy one that I got that's all Far East.
Yeah. Dave says, good evening.
Hello, Dave.
Evening, Dave. He said, hope life's treating you well. Paul, when setting up the air step,
Bluetooth something?
BW. Would that be I don't know. Do you connect both air step and Wazza headphones at the same time in the app? Can't find setup instructions. Hold on. So he's saying, when setting up the air step, do you connect both air step and Wazza headphones at the same time in the app? I can't remember. There's so the air step is I've got it on my pedal board actually. I can't drag it up. The air step's like a Bluetooth, connects by Bluetooth, and you can control the Wazza, the Boss Wazza headphones, the Wazza Airs, whatever they're called.
Yep.
Can't find the instructions. I'm sure there are
two Bluetooth things to the same device.
Yeah, no. It does. It does it. It does it in a really clever way because I couldn't believe it. Do you know what? I'm really
Boss, of course, it's clever.
Yeah. Well, it's actually the Exonic guys, the air step.
Right.
They really trust it. I really can't remember, David. Send the guys from Exonic a message. If you don't get any luck, give me a shout and I'll see if I can sort of rail up my contact over Exonic to it is Exonic, isn't it? Yeah. To help. But yeah, send them a message first. I'm sure they'll get you sorted out. John says, Happy New Year. All love the 100-watt shootout, especially when Paul and James both winced at the volume of the katana. Yeah, that thing was.
It was a showstopper, that. I was not expecting that. You know, having been privy to the pair of you giving me little hints of what was to come in our little WhatsApp group, that is not the kind of out of left field that I was expecting. It was astonishing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How did it feel, though? Given that you'd been stood there in front of real life, breathing valve, how did Katana feel?
Felt good. It felt just as good. Katana's really quick. It's like a really fast amp. It felt good. I mean, it sounds slightly different. It's got the Katana's got a sound about it. Whether you like it or not, I think it's a great sound. It's it's one of those things. It's like you compare it against the Matchless, and the Matchless is going to win, but the Matchless is 10 times the price or whatever.
Yeah, and if you were going to jump into a wedding gig, what's the option?
I still think one of the best options for a wedding gig, if you can get 2 katanas, run all the stereo effects and stuff, laughing.
Yeah.
Cheers, John. K-Michael P says, howdy, K-Michael P.
Hello, mate.
Richard says, please show your Gretsch more. Funny enough, mate. There's a video coming out, I think tomorrow. I've got to edit it. So what I've done a video that's coming out tomorrow, hopefully, that is it's just comparing all my different guitars and how different they all sound, because we're thinking of moving, and I'm trying to wonder whether I actually need all these guitars to take with me, if I should, because I've got loads of guitars and stuff. So it's do I need this much, or should I sell some? That sort of thing. And I wanted to compare them all. So I'm doing my Esquire, my Fender Esquire, but it's got like another telly pickup in it. It's basically telly. My Masterbuilt P90 Strat, my Masterbuilt Telecaster with the Filtertron and the gold foils.
Yeah.
My Strat, my 2 Les Pauls, and the Gretsch, to see which one. And the Gretsch comes out incredibly well, I think.
Right.
Really versatile.
Aside from the sounds, when you kind of look around the room, which do you think, I don't pick that up much?
The Gretsch, because it's not through it not being a great guitar, but it's more what I use it for. Right. So I use it for a specific job. And also, not many people have got a Gretsch. So if you're doing a video on something,
sure,
you get so many comments. Like if I do an overdrive pedal, and I play a Strat with the overdrive pedal, someone will complain, you should have used Les Paul, because they've got Les Paul. You do the opposite, they'll, it's exactly what it is. And not many people have those sort of fully hollow Gretches. So but it's a great guitar. Other than that, my green Strat, I don't pick up that much. Right. Not through, because it's not a great guitar. It's just I don't know. That might be the one to go. I'll have to see. But I've got other guitars that do that sort of job. David says, how do you join? Can't find anything on YouTube on the app on my iPhone.
So we haven't posted it.
Oh, join the
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it on the email you sent me. 1 second.
I can do it here. Or does he mean how do you become a member?
Oh right, I see, yeah.
I'll see what I'll do. Let me post the StreamYard link up anyway.
All right, you do that.
And then so that's here. Is that it? Is that what James does? I'm guessing that's what he does.
I must confess that I can't even see that in my tin pot version of this.
Yes, that's what he does.
Yeah,
that's what he does. Right. Yes. So to join the Studio Acts YouTube channel, if I can find, where are you, David? You just click on. You go onto the YouTube. If you're signed into YouTube and click on one of our videos, it will say become a member.
Let me see if I can find it. Okay.
K-Michael P says, and the Katana is the DB winner. It sure was.
Can Dave see that? Just here, this little button.
Yeah.
That's the join button. I know you can't see that here, but that's where it is, Dave. Click that and follow the internet.
There we go.
Presumably, given the content, it's safe to do at work. I don't know where in the world you are.
Mendel Rock says, evening chaps. Evening, Mendel.
G'day, Mendel.
Steve. I like that guitar. Look at that.
Oh, it's a belter, isn't it?
Nice, isn't it? He
what
says,
make is that?
He did say, is it a Warmouth?
I
can't remember what he said. He said, very interested show about DB. People constantly knock solid state amps. My session amp is very loud, 65 watts. Yeah, they were loud, those things. David says, hello, fellas. How cool are those new PRS SE models? Can't wait for the videos. Yes, yeah, really good, actually. We're talking about the
GGT.
Is there another one we need to talk about?
I think it might just be SE in general. The number of people that just wax lyrical about quality control, how much bang for your buck you get with those guitars.
Yeah,
I sent a link to a friend yesterday for the Silver Sky SE because in the UK, mid-January 2023, they are still sub £600 depending on what colour you get, which just seems a crazy amount of money for such a lot of guitar.
That is a good. I think that's a good buy. Gary says, "Good day, fellas. Hope you're doing well. Curious on your thoughts about the Keeley Electronics El Rey Dorado distortion pedal or possible alternative." Have you got that? Should I look it up?
Yeah, go on, you do that. I can't remember. I remember somebody talking about that one, Gary, and saying what it was based on. I think that's been around for a while. It might have been the year before last that I heard someone talking about that. And
it's a British voiced amp.
Okay.
Hold on, let me have a look. Let me see if I can share my screen. Tell me if this all goes a bit wrong because James normally does.
We'll get that mirror in front of mirror thing, won't we?
Yeah, is it working?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it does look familiar.
So it says the El Rey covers a lot of classic British amp tones by featuring 2 gain modes with the power toggle. With the power toggle switch, you have control over the compression and harmonics. So I'm guessing if they're talking about compression and harmonics, they're talking about a blues breaker style circuit. It's got to be. Yeah,
I wonder, cynic that I am, if the low and high and the controls that are there mean it's an OCD in a different box.
Oh, it's an OCD. Is that
essentially a Marshall, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think blues breaker is slightly more refined, where the OCD is just it's a Marshall in a box. So then the question is, I can't remember the name of it. There's some really, really like low end in terms of price Chinese version of it.
I
picked up one of those maybe 15 years ago for about 40 quid, something like that, and it's the same circuit done tin pot cheap, and it's the usual thing, lasts as long as you expect something like that to last if you're actually stamping on it in anger in a gig. Then the switch pops, then you go, can't be bothered to put a new switch in because it's about a third of the price of the pedal in general. I don't know if it is one of those. It's a great sounding thing. Just the OCD's been through so many iterations, hasn't it? Many of which.
The only reason I say it's a blues breaker is because of the compression. So
right.
What other alternatives? You could have a look at, if you want that sort of sound. Depends how much you want to spend. There's something like a Dualist, which has both. So Drive B is a blues breaker, and that's a tube screamer on that side. There's the BB preamp from Exotic Effects. That is great. It's really good.
Yeah.
Any other?
Chris Buck uses. Is it a Schnauzer something box? Is it a black box? Schnauzer black box? Is that right? I'm sure the comments will tell us if I'm making a fritz of that. But he has stood by that for a long time because his board has changed a few times in the last 4 or 5 years, hasn't it? But that thing seems to hang around a lot.
And everything he plays through sounds absolutely amazing.
That dude's hands are amazing, aren't they?
Oh, so
he's another one, isn't he?
Yeah, he is one. By the way, I've got to say, David, thank you very much. Here we are. It's here. Thank you very much, David. That's really kind of you, mate. He said,
in the absence of Charlie, I'll do that bit.
There you go. He said, nice to meet you, Greg. I'm a Boss nerd. Do you guys have any insights into what Boss products may be released this year? The Channel 3 X100. I do have some insights.
However, If he told you, he'd have to kill you.
Well,
Nice to meet you too, Dave.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Thanks very much for your generous contribution. I can't. So I signed something I signed an NDA with Boss, a non-disclosure agreement with Boss, and with other companies as well, because when they talk to you about a future release, it can't. If it gets out, if I say if it's my fault that it gets out, they can technically sue me. So I'm not sure they would, but
you don't want to be on the wrong side of.
I don't want to be on the wrong side of Boss. Yeah, I don't want to be on the wrong side of Boss. So there are some. The thing is, I only know just before stuff comes out. And yeah, always with Boss, there's exciting stuff coming out. So I don't know what's coming out further down the year and stuff, but all I know is what they're planning on in the near future, because obviously they're going to ask me to do a video on it. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. That way.
I would be interested
Yeah.
in the things that you have done with them.
Yeah.
In the not too recent past, have you putting together a pure Boss setup? Be it the core, the 1000s. They did a little IR thing that you had for a minute there as well, didn't they?
Yeah, 200.
Yeah. I think that'd make for quite an interesting half hour.
Yes. Yeah.
Assuming you've still got it all, rather than it's been sent back to them or sent on to the next reviewer.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. Yeah, no, yeah, anything they send, absolutely. Ned says, hello everyone.
Hello, Ned Amino.
Hello, mate. He says, hope you're doing well today, and to you, mate. Mendel says, already the most entertaining YouTube video so far for 2023. Wondering whether the Katana might have a more efficient speaker to help it poke out over the 4x12. Yeah. There's a video planned, or I was talking to Boss today about a video that's we're going to be doing something like that sort of thing.
There's a Katana, is it the Artist one that's got the posh speaker, isn't there?
Yeah.
Do they do, I don't spend enough time rooting through the Boss website to know, do they do a 4x12 just with those posh speakers? Because they do a head version of the amp itself, don't they?
They do a Boss brought out an amp called the Wazza amp, I think it was.
Right.
Which was really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how different it is to the Katana. I've never played one, but I'm sure you could buy a 4x12 of that.
Yeah.
And that had the Wazza speakers in. One in Ignacio Wasteman says, hi from Argentina. Hi from the UK. Hello, mate.
Hello, Argentina.
Aleski K from Finland.
Oh,
Crean's in the house. Hello, mate. How you doing? All your videos are going well by the looks of things, so congrats on that.
Yeah, well done.
K Michael P, 2203 equals 800. There we go. Thanks, mate. I wonder why they do that. Why do they call it a JCM 800 and 2203?
It's the model iteration, isn't it? I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, comments. I think it's just whatever the next model is they bring out, they just add another number to the 2200 and whatever it is up to now.
Okay, got it. Jim, Ben says, hello from Detroit. And to you, mate, hello.
Nice.
Oh, here he is.
There you go. Just landed in Germany.
Just landed, so he's not going to be on tonight, is he? He'll probably be sitting in the bar.
Yeah. Good lad. Good lad.
Dave says, to clarify, to become a member. There we go. John says, anyone tried the Harley Benton Tube 15 amp? Seems okay from videos, but is it? I've never tried one. I've never tried any Harley Benton stuff, I don't think.
I saw a video on that, and as you would expect, given its price point, they have to make savings somewhere, and it seems that the cabinet and presumably the PCB itself are some of the areas in which those savings are made. If it does a job for you, John, worth a go. I keep teasing Paul and James that they should just splurge on some Harley Benton gear and do some videos and scratch the itch.
We should,
but yeah,
we so should. But every time I get a little bit of money in the bank, I just go, oh, shall I go and buy a pedal? Or shall I go and buy?
Another custom shop.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But you go and buy a pedal and it costs just as much as a Harley Benton guitar.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're going to talk about the PRS SE shortly when we get to the news.
Yeah.
I remember before last June when Paul, James, and I did a little gig together. Again, when I was teasing them about let's just buy some of their gear and see what it's like, there is a knockoff or copy of a PRS shape guitar that Harley Benton do, and if I was on stage and you were in the audience, you'd think that looks quite nice. But even from the pictures on the website, if you actually look a little bit more closely, you go, hang on, those fret marker dots aren't quite in the right place, and that bit of finish doesn't look quite right, and that so even from internet imagery, you can tell they've made some savings. It does look quite pretty from a distance, but again, get what you pay for, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Shahar says, Paul, have you tried out the air step with the X-Fix? Yeah, I use it on gigs. Yeah, my pedal board has got the air step on it that literally just is middied up to the X-Fix and changes the way that I've got it set up. You can do loads of different things with the air step, but I've got it switching scenes. So on a gig, I really just use one patch and 1, 2, 3, 5 different scenes. And so I've got like a clean patch because I use pedals with it as well, so it's a bit different. All of my preamp sort of preamp pedals are all before the X-Fx. So this is just sort of switching reverbs and volumes and sort of more post effects.
Right.
Okay, so Tim says there's several new PRS SE models, so I need to check that. So maybe I'll check that. I'll check that in a minute, and we'll do that in the news.
Good enough.
Chemical P said he had a 1969 Gretsch Tennessean, bought new, sold it off 15 years later, and regretted to this day. It sounded more like a single coil than any other, and different. A.K. George Harrison. Yes. It's funny. That's the funny thing about the Filtertrons. I don't know if the 69 had Filtertron style pickups or it had the sort of D'Angelico sort of style pickup. But they do. The pickups in that thing there, they sound like single coils.
Right.
Great.
If it's any consolation, K. Michael P, as we were talking about Valve preamps earlier, excuse me, I had a prang of I wish I hadn't let it go. I had a Mesa Boogie studio preamp.
Oh, I've got them.
And just thought, I'm not using it enough. It's not really doing anything other than collecting dust, taking up space. I'll get rid of it. Still regret it. One of those.
You probably sold it for 200 quid and it's now worth $1,000.
I got closer to 400. I did quite nicely on it, but I wish I still had that thing.
Yeah, I had one. Good. Yeah. Post color gear. The glove from Electro Harmonics is pretty cheap too, and it's an OCD clone. Oh, look at that! Thanks for the tip, post.
Yeah, nice one.
Nice one. JTB says, "Can a combo amp be used as a cabinet for something like a Boss Katana Mark II head?" Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so yes, it can definitely. You just got to work out how it's wired. Most decent combo amps come with a jack that you can plug into, the back of the amp from the speaker to the amp.
Yeah.
Some amps come sort of wired out of the amp, but you can just you just got to chop that and fit a female jack on one end, and a quarter on the other end, and clip them together, and then you can obviously use that however you want. Just be careful on the ohms.
Yes. And whilst we're on it, just for the sake of good housekeeping, amplifiers can kill you. if you are not careful about messing around with those things, you can do yourself a real mischief. If you're just using the cabinet as a speaker cabinet, not an amplifier, do not turn on the combo. Because if nothing else, if you've taken the speaker connection out of it and that amp is just running and it can't disperse its load anywhere, it's going to hurt itself.
Nasty.
Okay. So, if you then go back to, I'm just going to use my combo, you might find that it's done a mischief and needs some TLC. So yeah, if you're just using it as a cabinet, don't turn it on. Just disconnect the speaker as Paul described and stick that into the output of the guitar.
There you go.
Safety first, people.
Absolutely. Lightwing says, evening rats. Evening mate. He says, sorry I'm late. Just finished the setup of a Firefly Pelham Blue Les Paul with P90s. Nice.
Is it your own Lightwing or is it on behalf of somebody?
It's Firefly. Is that a make? I've never heard of Firefly.
Let's get the internet working. You go to the next one and have a look.
Yeah, you look at that. But anyway, if it's a Pelham Blue Les Paul with P90s, I'm well in there.
Yeah, it's winning.
David Brose says, hello mates, what do you think about a huge investment on a 77 BC Rich Mockingbird Supreme? It's a real deal original. $7,500 too much. Thoughts? David, where's David? David, are you in
guessing America?
I'm trying to see. Oh,
$7,500.
I mean, to me, I wouldn't.
Rich for my blood.
It's like I just don't get. I don't like the shape. I feel bad, but it's like, I mean, loads of artists have used them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I don't know. I'd struggle with that. I think for $7,500, I think you can get. I think
is it your dream guitar, David? Is the Mockingbird shape the one that makes you think, I want to play guitar? What are you going to use it for? Is it going to sit on the wall and you'll play it and love it? Are you going to go out and gig with it? Do you want to be gigging with a $7,500 guitar? What's the backstory? Because whatever you tell us, we'll agree with you, and then you'll go and drop $7,500 on the guitar. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's if that is your dream guitar, then do it. Then do it. I personally, it's not my sort of thing, but then if it's yours, that sounds a lot. The thing about those guitars, they're not going to be. I don't think they're ever going to be like a vintage Gibson or a vintage Strat.
Because are you buying at the top end of the market? Are you going to lose money?
I think so. It's because it's such a. Shall I show everyone what it looks like?
Cool.
Shall I try? I'll try and find a Slash picture.
It's a lot of cash. What other guitar related toys have you got a hankering for, David? Whilst Paul's looking for this picture. And how many of them would $7,500 purchase?
Yeah, that's an old. Yeah, it's a 79. I found a 79. Here we go. Hold on. Let me share. This is 77. So I found a 79. Share screen.
Yeah.
Hey, that's 3,200.
So what was it about 77 that makes it worth twice as much and a bit spare?
Maybe that's the original year. I don't know, but I mean, I've never been a fan. It's too pointy for me.
It's very look at me, isn't it? Wow. We are men that like tellies, aren't we? But we like a working guitar rather than a show guitar.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. But they are really, really well built guitars. Oh God, that's had some love in it. Look at that.
Blimey. Jesus. Maybe that's why it's worth $3,200. Well, someone's graffitied it.
Oh, Pat Travers has scribbled on the back of that.
So they're worth $7,500 unless Pat Travers signs them. Is that what we're saying?
yeah. Pat Travers.
I'm joking, people. I'm joking.
That is
a Supreme a model, as its name suggests, that means it's worth twice as much as.
It could be. Funny. Pat Travers is Pete, my business partner. It's his cousin.
Mm.
He's a lovely man, actually.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Ibarra says, I like to pretend my layout on the Axe Effects is like a pedal board. Yeah, great. That's a good way of doing it. Hold on a second. Have I missed some?
I can't see him, mate.
I've done a James.
To answer your own question there.
I've done a James. Apologies. Hold on. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about this. Here we go. Hello from Detroit.
Yeah, we saw James.
Okay. We've got James. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm getting there, guys.
This is what happens without jivey people. The wheels come off.
It's true. We've done that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Hold on. We're getting there. Right. That was it, wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't find a Firefly.
We're here.
Perhaps Lightwing could share with us. There we are.
Yeah. JTB says 2023 NAMM show in April will reveal the new boss stuff. There we go. Boo Paul, David Olsen said, I want my $8.99 back. Joking, chaps. Lamborghini's all around. Thanks, mate.
Chin chin, David.
Yes, chin chin, mate. John Partridge says, isn't it stupid to play a matchless amp to play a pub gig or just use a katana? Can people hear the difference? It's not really about, to me, it's not really about people hearing the difference. It's like if people can't really hear the difference between dig out your crap guitar from the 80s and 90s, a Marlin, a Marlin guitar, an Encore guitar. Can people really hear the difference between that and a vintage Strat? No.
Yeah.
Can people hear the difference between a matchless and a katana? No, probably not. But it's not about that. It's about, can you hear the difference? And is it going to make you play?
Yeah. Where's it going to send you on your gig?
Yeah, and there is a difference. There is a difference between, both amp and guitar. Yes, it might only sound 10% better, but it's, to me, if it's going to make me play 100 times better, I'd rather have that. And I haven't really got a problem with taking expensive guitars and expensive amps to gigs and using it. I know loads of people don't do it, but to me, it's a guitar. It's meant to be played. It's it's an amp. It's meant to be used. Keep it
I in my classical days used to play a cello that was worth $15,000, and that was the gig. That was the thing that went to every gig that I did. Be that on a concert hall stage or some boozy wedding reception where people are stumbling over each other. And in one instance that I recall, literally throwing chairs at each other, one couple. That was that instrument then. So we're talking 15, 20 years ago now, is worth more than the most expensive guitar rig that I could put together now. Comfortably.
Yeah.
But that was the instrument. Sounded awesome. Sounded phenomenal, that thing.
There you go. Bogeyman. Bogeyman became a YouTube member. Well done, Bogeyman. Good man.
Bogeyman's figured it out. Yes, so if I show that screen again, will somebody else do it before the end of the show?
They might do. You never know. M. Kimby. That's a good I like that picture.
That's cool,
by M. Kimby.
So we've got Sweden and Finland. We just need someone from Denmark.
There is someone who regularly turns up from Denmark. Guy B says, evening guys, always look forward to the Wednesday night live stream. Nice to have you along, mate. Bruce is in the house, and Bruce says,
Bruce,
we need to know in advance if a Katana 3 is coming out so we can dump our Katana 2 before the price tanks. Hey, all I can say is, I will say this. I know nothing about a Katana 3. That's all I can say.
You heard it here first. Boss may or may not be building something.
It doesn't mean that doesn't mean
news.
It doesn't mean it's not coming out, but I know nothing about it. Z Peps, he says, hello, guitar people. Been assembling a new Harley Benton guitar kit. This time a Strat. It's a lot of fun. You should try it. This Strat will be blue, one with matching headstock. Do you know what? I should do that. Should I go and buy one of them?
Defo. Is, as some of the viewers may remember me saying last time I was on, I listened to a lot of the Studio Rats output while I'm commuting back and forth. Is Z the chap who came on a week or two back?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, just on the basis of how gushingly effusive he was about that previous one, mate, just do it. It'll make for good content, if nothing else, won't it?
Yeah. It's just that my soldering skills, it literally be me tearing out what little hair I've got left.
Just knock it all together and leave the solder into Jive. He loves a bit of that, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
And he's got literally nothing better to do with his time now that he's got a studio to try and pay off.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Pets in there.
There he is.
I'm in. I was Drivamug. Is that Welsh for driving? Do you think?
I'm going to say, for Pet's benefit, he definitely wasn't texting that with one hand whilst finishing the drive.
Andrew Brown says,
Andrew.
do you feel like the Matchless Independence covers a wide range of tones, Marshall and Vox type tones, perhaps? Absolutely. It really does. I've done so much amp testing, and it really is my favorite amp. That and there was a red plate that I really like, that Clive owns, that was really nice. But the Matchless is definitely my favorite amp of all time.
It is a astonishing thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I sat where that Union Jack flag was a couple of weeks ago, viewers, and played through it. Hell of a thing. When something in your left hand, assuming you're a right-handed guitarist, feels different based on what's coming out of the sound of that thing. That's what that Matchless does.
It is very good. It's a very
amazing.
Good. I think all Matchless are really good. There's did I tell you I've got a let me go back. I've got some footage of Chris Buck playing through that actual amp.
All right. How did that come about?
He was in the guitar shop that it came from.
Uh-huh.
It was and they filmed him playing through it. And, I mean, I thought, if I buy that, I'm going to sound like
yeah. Does the talent where is the talent pot on it?
Absolutely.
There's a horrible joke about you still not having found it yet. I'm not going to make that,
Paul. Bruce
Mr.
says,
Brooks.
I have a Tube 15 and it rocks. There we go. I didn't update the tubes and the reverb tank, but still have less than $275 into it. Nice one.
Crikey. How much is what's the standard Fender that's always on a back line?
The deluxe, the
little 15 watt thing that's everywhere.
15 watt.
Is it 15 or 20? I think it's 15.
You're talking about the Hot Rod Deluxe.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
How much is one of those against Bruce telling us that even with a new set of tubes and a better reverb tank, you're still getting change for $300?
Well, it's. I'm guessing, but a Hot Rod Deluxe has got to be £500-600 now.
There you go.
It's got to be. Shahar says, Greg, are you one of the Knights of Knee?
We want a fence, a nice picket one. Yes, and a shrubbery.
Ibaj says, all you need really.
What did Ibaj say last time? I can't remember.
Have a look.
Was he talking about the Matchless, i.e., if you've got a Vox and a Marshall, it's all you need, really?
Maybe that's what. Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
I would fly the flag for the clean tone of a Fender, based on the experience I had earlier this week.
Oh, there we go.
In fact, I tell you what, a great video will be. My pal has got hand-wired deluxe and tweed clones. Gorgeous, not inexpensive things. Both of those down at James's place. Put them in Dave and crank them up. That'll make for that would be a good alternative point of view from Barge saying, is Vox and Marshall enough? Because that Fender clean sound.
There we go.
Sound of ages.
It is. It is. Dave became a member. Oh, thank you, Dave.
There we are. That's 3 at the current rate of crikey. Yeah, this time next year, Rodders, you'll be millionaires.
Ibarra says, I like to pretend my layout on the XFX is like a pedal.
Yes. And that's all you need, really. That's what we're saying. There we go.
Yes.
Right.
But they are big for what they do. I can't justify having more than
1100.
Oh, one. I thought 1100 watt.
I was just read it as that as well.
You can't justify having more than one 100 watt tube amp anymore. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But they're great, attenuator, and they're really usable.
On the subject of 100 watt amps, just before we get on to Bruce's next comment, you were both saying, I'm paraphrasing here, but in the volume videos that you've done in the last couple of weeks, whoever uses a 100 watt amp at gigs anymore, or words to that effect, or where can you use a 100 watt amp at gigs anymore? Now, in September and October last year, I watched with a friend from the village here, the Brothers Landreth in London, and then Paul and I went to Guildford to the Boiler Room and were lucky enough to see Ariel Posen. Ariel's setup was smaller, I think, but on both gigs, there were times during that gig where both players were playing so quietly, it was almost as if I was perceiving the acoustic sound of the electric guitar in the room as opposed to something coming through the amplifier, certainly with the Posen one because we were so close. And yet they've got a huge amount of volume available there and on tap. And at both gigs, I had earplugs with me and wanted them to be louder. I wanted that visceral trouser flapping volume that you guys referenced this week, but it didn't happen. So Landreth has just released with 2 Rock his new amp, which we'll have a peek at shortly, and that is a 100 watt head. People are still using them. Do you have to be ear-splittingly loud with them, or do you just have it for the headroom and work with it? This is the video that I want you to make next. You've done, yes, things can be, ear-bleedingly loud. How do you use them in a real context? And I think that's one for a live jam filming day at Dave at James's place. We've got lots of volume, but do we have to use it, or are we using the palette that 100 watts provides us with in order to emote what we are trying to say through our instrument? I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, people, but I hope you kind of get the point.
I hear you. I do wish that I'd held on to my 2 Rock.
Yeah.
My what's it called?
Studios.
No,
signature. Classic.
That's it.
Classic. Yeah.
Classic reverb signature.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is 100 watt sort of clean amp. Sounded really good. Did sound really good.
Paul Drew in 2 Rock sounding really good. Shocker.
yeah. It was. Yeah, it is. They are really good. I didn't like it as much as the matches, but I wish I'd held on to that. Maybe I'll look at one of them again at some point when I can possibly afford it. Bruce says, I've owned in the past both a 60s Gretsch Tennessean and a 60s double cut White Falcon. Nice. And yes, Major regret. I think they are those sort of guitars that you don't use them. You don't use them probably as much as other guitars, but they do something that's unique. Lightwing says Firefly guitars are imports to the US. There we go.
I couldn't see anything Firefly. Granted,
William says, good evening. Hi, Paul. Have you tried to scallop fretboard? If so, what is your opinion? Regards, William. Yes, I have tried to scallop fretboard. Yes. Not a fully scalloped fretboard from fret 1 to 21 or 22 or 24, whatever. But yes, I have. I've had a couple of gems in the past.
Yeah.
I've never tried. Have I actually? Have I? I must have tried a Malmsteen Strat. The only thing, okay, so what the thing about the scallop fretboards, you've got to have a really light touch, because you push down if you push down any further than you need to, you're going to push the string out of tune. So you've got to have a really light touch. I don't know what strings Malmsteen uses. I'm guessing some sort of light gauge.
I don't know either.
You're not a Malmsteen fan? I could see you as a.
No, yeah, I had. God, I can't remember the name of it. This is going to age me beautifully. When, as a youth, I used to go to the library and take out recordings.
Yeah.
And I got some Rising Force, Ingwie J. Because again, the classical thing, I was marrying two enthusiasms of, I know these sounds, but he's playing them through stacks and stacks of Marshalls. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Right. My similarly only experience with scallops is on gems. And I couldn't get to grips with it at all for the same reason. I'm too ham-fisted to do what Ingwie does.
Well, you just got to change the technique.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, whether you like the sort of stuff he does or not, he's a great player. Oh, hold on. Thank you, Lightwing. He said, "Here's a few quid for the Quasi."
Cause.
Thanks. That's much kind. Thank you very much. I'll be buying Greg a beer next time I see him. But thanks, mate. David says, Salty found the instructions on the Exonic site. Nice one.
Well done. Ingwie Malmsteen uses 8 to 46.
I thought it was a light gauge.
Yeah.
He's got such a light touch. So does Paul Gilbert apparently is.
Yeah, he's nice. Yeah. Old Mr. Beato did a light string gauge thing, didn't they? Recently, some point last year.
Did it sound different? Did they sound?
I think it depends how processed you are, don't they?
Yeah.
It's funny seeing anything about 8s on the basis that the last guitar that I restrung, I put on 19 to 64s.
Yeah.
Because I've set one up. Well, I'm in the process of setting one up for OpenC. The action and intonation is currently horrible. But yeah, it feels great. I'm really enjoying it. It doesn't feel massively alien at all. Which again, I wonder, having spent years playing the cello, is there a connection there of I'm used to playing a massive C string, and this is the same, just 90 degrees that way.
So what gauge is that? 9 to 42s.
19 to 64 is the open C set, because the pitch is so much lower. The tension on them isn't as crazy.
But you're on C. Oh, okay, yeah. I see. Okay, we do one more question. We go to news.
Yes.
Shahar Bar says, regarding the Mockingbird, I say nay. You could buy so many excellent USA made guitars for far less. Les Paul Custom, PRS Custom, Fender Custom Shop, Sir, etc. I couldn't agree more. I think, but then if you're like a massive Slash fan and you love Slash with Mockingbird, or I don't know who else uses. I mean, Wasp use BC Rich. maybe massive Wasp fan. Anyway, let's do news.
Last point on Mockingbird. When I got my American telly at the start of this millennium, I was still living on my own. I would literally sit of an evening and look at it on the stand, because I just think it's gorgeous. It's just a bog standard American telly in sunburst. It's it's nothing out of the ordinary, but I adore the thing. I think it's gorgeous. If I can't remember who it was that was asking about the Mockingbird, but if you sit and look longingly at a Mockingbird in the same way, just get the bloody thing and enjoy it, mate.
Yeah,
if it does it for you, have it.
Yeah, life's too short. Here we go. Okay, no, let's start here. Let's start here.
Giving the game away.
So this is one of the things that came out this week or last week.
It was last week, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the new 2 Rock Joey Landreth signature edition.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a bias tremolo and it's got a harmonic tremolo on it.
And harmonic, yeah. So in hindsight, it's very easy. Hindsight, little Landreth reference there for everyone. He, when appearing on that pedal show, referenced some brown Fender amps that he was using that had the harmonic tremolo in a few years back. And lo and behold, if he doesn't just say with in the spiel about all this that he was talking to them about, I like those amplifiers, and then 6 or 7 years later, they've scratched the itch. And I'm sure it'll sound absolutely phenomenal if he's playing it.
Yeah,
because he's just a genius, isn't he?
Yeah, he is absolutely fantastic. You know, he's such a great player. I'm trying to see what I want to see all the controls on it, but it's a bit.
I don't think it's anything groundbreaking. I think you get 4 of those knobs are for the tremolo. There's a presence and a reverb.
Yeah, it's gain, treble, middle bass, speed intensity, obviously for the 2 different tremolos, reverb, master, and presence. And then you've obviously got, I don't know, the standard sort of 2 Rock switching where you can voice things slightly differently.
Yeah. It's a 3x10 cabinet.
It's a 3x10. Okay, so he's going for that. He's going for that sort of super. I mean, I know super's 4x10, but he's going for that sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't get it, to be honest. I don't.
How do you mean?
I don't understand. I don't understand why it's 10 grand.
Is it 10 grand? I'm sure it was.
I thought it was 10 grand.
7. Oh right, yeah, including the cab. Yeah,
I think including the speaker, I think it's over 10 grand.
God, yeah.
Yeah,
there's only 75 of them, so they're immediately into the collector's market, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess so. I still don't get it. I mean, you know, if you want a harmonic tremolo and you want a bias tremolo, there's some great pedals out there. That do those things. I don't know. For me personally, I'd rather go and get a classic reverb and a couple of pedals and save a fortune. And I don't even like the look of it. I hate that brown. I hate the brown suede on it.
It's monstrous big, isn't it?
Well, they put it in their big chassis. What they're clean? What's their clean amp? They're really clean amp. Let's have a look. They put it in this chassis. It's not very good, is it?
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal. It doesn't seem to be working very well. Anyway, let's move on. But I think it's great, and I think, you know, he's obviously just an amazing player.
Yeah, different class.
10 grand's too much. PRS SE DGT, finally it's out. I really like it in sunburst. I don't like the top. I don't like the carve of it.
Right.
It's more like the look at that as well. No, it's not. I was going to say there's some dodgy finishing around there, but it's not.
It's just the lights, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just the lights. So it's 1,135 or 1,219 for the tobacco.
What site is this?
What the site that I'm on?
Yeah,
it's Gear News.
I've seen them. You can reserve them for less than £1,000 in England.
Yeah, this is euro.
Oh, euros, right?
Euro,
sorry.
yeah.
Apologies.
But it is one of PRS's best-selling models and probably the most versatile model.
The PRS's YouTube channel has got a 3-part set of videos on the development of this thing.
Yeah.
And obviously it looks great because that's what their marketing department have been tasked with doing. But it really does look great. And when you can get a man of his stature to say, I like that, I'm happy with it, they must have done something right. Same as getting old Mr. Mayer to sign off on a cheap version of the Silver Sky.
Yeah. I mean, PRS is just going from strength to strength, aren't they?
Yeah.
Bonkers. Great. I don't know what's going on with this. We looked at something like this the other day.
What
basically
is this?
It's a pedal, and you can just plug, just stick things on the top of it and get
look fruited to it.
What a load of bollocks! I mean, who's going to go to a gig and stuff an apple on their pedal?
What if your apple goes off halfway through the gig due to the relative humidity and you can't get the noise right? I mean,
it's just
I don't want to be holding this. I mean, I'm professional, and there's things that I can rise above, but I can't beat the physics or the biology of an apple going off mid-solo.
I mean, it's the shittest idea ever.
Who's come up with that?
What was it?
How much are those things?
150 quid. Oh, look, you can stick a banana on it.
£150.
What would happen if you stick like a piece of fruit on there and you get the best sound ever, and then you have to, you then have to replicate that sound.
Yeah.
Every gig, so you have to find like
down Sainsbury's. Oh no, we haven't got any Moroccan grapes this week. The French ones don't sound the same. So.
It is.
And what if you got to stick your foot on it and you're into the third set and you thought I'll treat myself to a beer, and you stick your foot down on the banana and it goes everywhere and your tone just goes to pot. I mean, what are you going to do?
It's stupid. It's
madness. Who comes up with this stuff?
Oh, I don't know. Ibanez got a new Prestige AZ model, SSS. It's I don't know. I don't like the. Do you know what I don't like about it?
Go on.
And I do like about it. I like this beer.
With the old recessed.
Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, but it misses on a Strat. It misses the.
Yeah.
It looks. Yeah, it just makes it look weird.
I'm not a fan of the scratch plates either. It looks like they've been cut short. Like they don't fit the guitar.
Yeah, and this little weird pointy thing that goes up there. So how much are these, you think?
It's a signature mod. Is it?
No, it's a signature.
I thought you said it was a signature up the top there. Go on.
Oh, hold on.
LWH signature.
No, sorry. It says new Ibanez Prestige models fitted with 3 Simmer Duncan single coil pickups are part of the company's 2023 launch, along with the signature model.
Oh, I see. Right.
So this isn't the signature model.
I mean, it shouldn't be crazy money, should it? I can't read that. We're talking $2,000.
$2,000. I think that's a lot. I think
that is a lot. How much can you get a Fender custom shop for second hand?
You'll be lucky to get one for $2,000. I think more like $2,500 to $3,000 now.
What about those American vintage 2s that have come out?
Yeah,
they're about 1,700-1,800 quid, aren't they?
I prefer.
And presumably, they'd be more of a sell-on value with the Fender rather than one of these.
I'd say so. I'd say so. I think I'd rather have one of them. Next, so PRS have released their Modern Eagle to part of the core lineup. So as opposed to having to order it as a, I think they did like a real limited run, and I think you can buy them as private stock. So now they're part of the core range, which I think's pretty good.
Have you ever had one of those?
No. I know people that have used them. I've never even tried one.
No, because you're friendly with PRS now and then, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I thought I was. I don't know what I've done. I sent an email a while back and didn't get a reply, so I don't know what's happened. But yeah,
what are these going to set you back for then?
$4,604.
It's almost 2/3 of a Mockingbird.
But that's what a core model costs.
Yeah, guess.
And if that's what you're into, Fantastic. Right. So I saw the next thing. I was listening to what's the Wampler podcast? What's it called?
I don't know.
Oh, it's great. You should listen to it. What's it? What is it? Hold on. Chasing Tone.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were talking about this, so I thought I'd dig it up. So it's a Dumble Overdrive special. And the price is, this is in pounds, by the way, £408,611.87.
Plus nigh on £1,000 in shipping to get it to the UK.
Yeah, plus £1,000 in shipping. So let's say £410,000. What's the average price of a house in the UK at the moment?
I think it would start with a 3, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's probably about 320 grand, something like that. So it's more than an average. You know, I'm not saying everyone. You know, the UK house prices range vastly from up north to down south. But don't you think that is?
It's just crazy, isn't it? But there you go. There are only X number of them available now, aren't there? In the same way that there were only so many 58 Les Pauls or whatever. That is just bonkers. I cannot begin to entertain it.
It's in good nick, though, isn't it?
Mint, like it says.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, if it was under 402,000, I might think about it. But 408, that's just crazy talk.
Hey, should I?
And you get a free dumbulator, so you get your effects loop for nothing. Gratis.
You get a free 80s dumbulator. It looks very 80s, that one.
Good, doesn't it? Go on, add to cart, see what happens.
Go on, should I just add to the cart?
Yeah.
I'll push the button.
Ah! Look, it's gone up. It's gone up already. 409. How
do I remove it from my cart?
It doesn't say, does it?
Remove. Oh, it's all right. Done. It's done. It's done. Oh, thank God for that. Right. Look, so you're looking at this and thinking that's a lot of money. Do you know how long it's been on Reverb for?
Since he passed away. Oh, actually, no. I can see listed 5 years ago.
5 years. Don't you think after 5 years?
Yeah. So get the message. Yeah. Let's knock £1,000 off.
Yeah. That's a joke. I mean,
the thing is, in another 5 years.
Yeah.
In the meantime, is he using it? Is it still going to be mint in 5 years, or is it just sat there collecting dust?
That's true.
Seems like a waste, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you could sort of understand if it was, I don't know, name any sort of famous Dumble user, Robin Ford. If it was Robin Ford's one, it's not worth. Even if it was, it wouldn't be worth that. It's an absolute joke. But anyway,
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, back to reality. There we go.
That's almost 7 of James's studios.
I'm not sure it's 7, mate.
I'm being nice about it.
I think definitely less than 7. But what he spent, it's a lovely space he's got there.
Great, isn't it?
David Bro says, I'm in Austin, Texas. I think the shape is awesome. My ultimate guitar. Well, they are then.
Well, they are, David. Mate, if you've got 7.5K burning all in your pocket and it means that to your childhood, get it, have it, enjoy it.
Yeah, if that's your thing, I'd love to see it. Bring it on the show.
Yeah.
It'll be, I'd love to see it.
Well, there you go. It's going to get used in anger as well.
He's going to play it live.
Let's take a vote. Everybody in the comments say David yes or David no.
There we go.
I'm sure David will agree to abide by the vote and democracy.
I personally think David's made his mind up already.
I agree, and I think you're right, David. You should buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your other half definitely would say boo to a goose about it.
Yeah, Ibarra says, I believe my guitar teacher had one back then. Excuse me. As well as those early aluminium guitars. I guess what Kramer made the early aluminiums.
Yeah.
Joe Perry and Slash BC Rich. Slash copied many things from Perry, the looks, etc. There we go.
Happy to agree.
Stephen James says, "Hey Paul, I want to love you.
Would love you to do with you again. Chorus pedal.
Another video about chorus pedals. I've purchased so many over the years that get that tight 80s, so they get that 80s tight tone. I normally get an okay clean, but when adding it to an overdrive, it sounds like my guitar is out of tune. Also, is it true you shouldn't use a delay at the same time? No. No reason why you shouldn't use a delay at the same time.
A multitude of 80s recordings would say that you can get away with chorus and delay at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Turn the level down would be the first thing I'd suggest if you're using it with overdrive. You're still going to get some chorus in, just not as prevalent.
I think it's where you're putting it in the chain. I think Stephen's putting his chorus post drive.
Mm-hmm.
And you should try it pre-drive.
Yeah.
We have James and myself. We did a video on the TC. I've got one. I bought one because I loved it so much. And I don't normally like chorus pedals. The TC SCF.
Yeah, the studio chorus flanger. They redid it, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, go and check out that video. I love that video, and it's really good. It's got a boost circuit in it as well, so you can. I think it's even when the pedal's not engaged, so you can basically turn up the boost circuit.
Right.
Yeah, it's really good, really good. Jeff says, I almost bought a Fender Super Reverb a few days ago, but it has 2 ohm output, and I didn't know how to tame it. My U8 Oxen Ironman 2 won't do it. Any clues? I'm not buying one now. Just wondering. That's a good shout. 2 ohm output. Have I got anything that does 2 ohm? Have a look. Because you've got to tame it. That thing is a beast.
Is that 2 notes to it?
I'm just gonna have a look. The tube amp expander doesn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
steady on.
And the 2 notes doesn't. No, that doesn't do it either. That's 4 minimum.
Please don't act on this, Jeff, but since you're saying you're just wondering rather than buying now, I'll throw this into the equation. I was listening to the Truth About Vintage Amps podcast on my way back from Wales a few months back, and the guy on there was saying, don't really make any difference. Plug anything into anything, you'd be fine.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't got the kahunas to try it. There's nothing that I'm prepared to sacrifice for science, as it were. But given he's had so many amps come through his shop over the years, and he thinks it's just all right, get on with it. Does make you wonder, doesn't it?
There you go. Yeah, it might just be that the fact that there's 4 10-inch speakers.
Yeah, it's a shame James isn't here, actually, because he does understand the maths of all that.
Does he?
Business, doesn't he? Yeah, he's explained it to you a few times, but I turn off as well.
Yeah, where are we? Ibarra says, Travis Bean, yes, are those worth anything anymore? I would have thought so. I think any sort of vintage guitar's worth something. The thing about these vintage guitars are thing like the BC Rich. It's if it's something that you saw when you were a kid, and you thought, I'm never going to be able to afford that, and you lusted after it, and you get to a certain age, and you've got a bit of spare cash, and you can afford it, and that's why these things go in value. Same with vintage cars, and
Yep.
See, Pep says, how about those Flora Volt from Metaverse Electronics? A fruit vegetable powered.
Is that what we were just looking at?
I think it was Flora Volt. Was that?
Yeah, that looks familiar. Yeah.
It is Flora Volt.
I'm thoroughly confused by that. Someone has decided, in this age of austerity in which we now exist, we're going to bring products to market, and the development team is sat around the table. What options have we got, everybody? Fruit and veg? Monkey tennis?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Ibar says, Travis Beanerman. Yes, yeah, we know what you meant, mate. It's all good. It's all good. By the way, I think.
Are we there already?
Chris Groom. Thanks, Chris. That's very nice, you mate.
What about it, Christoph?
Thank you very much. Let me. Where are we? Shahar as well. Shahar's a member.
Look at that. Is that 4 for the night already? I
think Shahar was a member, but thanks, mate. That's really good of you.
I think that tonight is the most successful episode ever in terms of membership uptake.
And then you think, what's
different? What's different
about tonight to make
lack of hair? Yes.
Where are we?
Hang on, we just missed one. Loop. Yeah, here we go.
There we go. Pet says loop at the end and compressor in front of the pedal board. Lovely night. Loop at the end and compressor in front of the pedal board. Where are we? Oh, thanks, Pet, as well for your
sorry,
your generosity.
Thank you, mate.
Loop at the end and compressor at the front of the pedal board. Lovely night. I'm trying to think what the question.
I'm trying to, as in you have a looping pedal that repeats phrases which you have played at the end of your pedal board, and you have a compressor at the front.
I like. Well, let's go through that. So I like compressor at the front, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Always got a compressor on my board. Not always on, but always got a compressor. And looper, as in like a delay looper.
Yeah.
At the end. Well, the only thing about having at the end. Oh no, that would be right, wouldn't it? Because if you've got it, if you've got it at the end, then you can change the effects that are going into it. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'd say if that's what we're saying, I'd say you're dead right, mate. I might have been driving, Larry. You're not supposed to.
We couldn't possibly comment. Yeah. On we go. So on we go.
Don't admit it, mate. Don't admit. Rock on Gibbo says, "Good evening, chaps. Have you any experience with Hotone Ampere 2? I haven't. No.
Who did I watch? Jonathan Nathan. What's he called? JNC. What's that lad called on YouTube?
John Cordy.
Yes.
John, great.
Phenomenal player, isn't he? I watched one of his things about it the other day. And the big takeaway that I saw was that there seemed to be some kind of latency as you changed patch that he was concerned by. And given the price point of it is essentially the Line 6 unit, the HX stop, is there really any benefit? I would be inclined, given that there's the HX, what's the other one that's similar sort of price point, similar power?
The MX5.
Might be that one. Yeah. There's those things that have been around for a while using that kind of architecture. Unless you've got a real itch that needs scratching, Rock on Gibbo, I would suggest sitting on it and seeing what delights come out of NAMM. Because even if there's new stuff that comes there that doesn't really appeal to you, is it going to have a knock-on effect on the used market of other things?
Yeah.
That don't have the shortcomings that the Ampere 2 has. That's my 5 penneth anyway.
I don't know how much the Ampere 2 is, but if you're looking for that sort of thing,
it was similar money to the HX Stomp. It's 400 or 500 quid. Yeah, it's not cheap.
It's HX Stomp for 400 or 500 quid.
I think
wow.
So, yeah.
I'd have a look at the Boss GX 100. I think it's a really good unit.
How much is that?
That's about 400 quid, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's a really good unit. Touchscreen, sounds good. Got an expression pedal on it. While you're looking that up, I'll do it. John says, "How do you protect your amp from bad power from a gig? My Dr. Z amp blew up from bad power detector.
That sounds like a tech looking after his employer's lack of quality electrics to me."
Yeah. The thing about Dr. Z amps, I love Dr. Z amps. I think they're fantastic. I've blown up 2.
Right, it's a thing, is
I've never blown up any other amps. Like James's Marshall the other day. Yes, and I'm the thing about the Dr. Z amps. I don't know what Dr. Z amp you've blown up. I had Maz 38, the big Maz, absolutely great sounding amp. But because of the way that it's configured and the circuitry in it that makes it sound fantastic, it tends to blow power amp valves.
Right.
For me, anyway. And I've heard the same thing from other people.
Hang on, let's go back. I mean, I'm saying let's go back so I can draw your attention to the first part. How do you protect? What if anything, have you done?
I don't think you can, apart from putting the right fuse. You know, having the right fuse in the amp.
Yeah, I have nothing helpful to share with you, I'm afraid, John. I wonder if you shouldn't stump up for a 20 or 30 quid trip switch plug to put your amp into. If the venue is the issue, and cynical bugger that I am, when you say my amp blew up from bad power, the tech said, is that the sound person at the gig saying you've got bad power in your amp? Or are you talking about I took it to a tech after it blew up? I don't know. Are you talking about surge, dirty power coming from the outlet in the wall? Or is it, as Paul's suggesting, that it's the design of the amp that's the issue? I haven't got anything really helpful to suggest here other than from a gigging perspective. Do you want to stick a trip switch in the way so that your nice boutique bit of kit doesn't get fried because the venue had a power surge?
Yeah, I mean, but if it's got a power surge, it should. The first thing that should go is the fuse.
Yeah,
I mean, I've blown up. So not only have I blown up my Dr. Z twice, but fuses used to go all the time.
Right.
Just make sure you've got the right fuse, because that should always be the first thing that goes.
Yeah. Do the basics.
And then, as Greg said, if you want to go, definitely one of those sort of trip switches if you're worried about that sort of stuff, because it's a surge. It will be underpowering it, shouldn't blow it up. Overpowering it is the only thing that should blow it up.
Yeah. £469 just to close out our Hoto and Empiro 2.
Are they? So same sort of price as a GX.
But I'm guessing it's got the same number of chips and all the rest of it inside it. It's just out the same factory, different shell, different transfer on the front. On you go.
Charles says, I'm a member now.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think this is by a street the most successful edition ever. No, James.
Any thoughts on the PRS DGSE? Yes, we just did that. I'm guessing these comments are down.
Speak to your last known contact at PRS, Paul, and I'll nip round to that place on the west side of Cambridge where they've got a bit of a gathering, and I'll sneak one out.
What the funny enough, the importers, I can't think what they're called, are in Essex actually, just not far.
I was in Basildon today. Could have nipped one there.
There we go. Afternoon,
John.
Hello, John. Doug F. Chris Buck gigs a Squire Jazzmaster.
And it sounds great, doesn't it?
Well, but anything you touch, it sounds great.
Yeah.
Doug F. My guitar teacher gigs with 50s and 60s Fenders and Gibsons. Nice.
Good for him.
Yeah, good
More
for
power
him.
to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're made for playing, aren't they? I suppose that's the thing.
Yeah. Each his own, I say. John Waller says, the last real loud show I saw was the Idols. They were unapologetically loud. They even 100 watts. I'm sure.
Two each.
Two each. Excellent.
So potentially 400 watts on stage, and it's still doable.
Yeah. Lee says, valve amps, surely 50 watts is the most anyone would need.
Do you know, as I listened to the one that you released this week, I was very interested to hear Lee's thoughts on that. I realise we're hurtling towards 10 o'clock, but if Lee's got nothing better to do with with himself and would like to come and share his wisdom and experience of gigging with volume, I for one would be very interested to hear it.
Well, Lee doesn't use Lee just goes direct.
This is it. This is what I'm interested to know. What did he used to do before going direct was a viable option?
Interesting.
I'm guessing a man of his experience and saying surely 50 is all you'd need. What did he used to use? I mean, crikey, I used to use that Laney 30-watt thing. Very rarely got to put it past 6. Regularly, it would be 4 or less on wedding gigs that I was doing. The Fender, I mean, granted, that Fender is, I think that's 60 watts, something crazy, because it's the Rivera one.
Yeah.
But a Fender Deluxe, what are they, 20? As you proved this week with that little PRS one, 15 watts. Crazy loud. Crazy loud.
I mean, it's not, there's not the the difference between all of these. The difference between, a 35 watt amp and a 100 watt amp. The difference between that the matchless and the 100 watt amp is there was hardly anything in it. If anything, the matchless had more headroom. It was cleaner,
right,
on the clean channel, and then it was just as dirty on the dirty channel. So that to me is a more useful amp because it stays cleaner and gets does the Marshall thing as well. That's 35 watts, and it wasn't it wasn't that much, if at all, quieter than the Marshall. Same with the 15 watts. You can't tell. It's not as though they weren't loud, because they were. They seemed just as loud. It was just with the 15 watts, the headroom.
Right.
That's what that was. But I don't think you need any more than 30 watts.
In which case, Leaves right.
Yeah, there we go. Bruce said Firefly guitars are an Amazon thing.
Right.
There we go. Doug F. Marshall DSL is the way forward for reasonably priced amps. There we go. Is that
That's the one that you killed.
Well, technically, James was playing. Who was playing with it at the time? I was playing.
You had the guitar in your hands.
Yeah, but James was playing with the knobs.
Mitigating responsibility.
Doug F says, you mic them, keep the stage volume reasonable. I couldn't agree more.
Yep.
Bruce, a good friend of mine was cleaning out a closet recently and found an old Mockingbird that he forgot he even had. Wow. That's what happens when you have too many guitars. How fun is that?
I'd love to be in that position.
Yeah. Just joking.
Well played, Bruce.
Mousing 848s, maybe 846. Light gauge, whatever, anyway. Yeah. Tim, Greg, Cox signature amp from Cox has both types of trem and is only in the 2K range.
Yeah.
Yes.
That thing sounds killer. But again, when it's got him on the other end of it.
Absolutely. Lightwing. Amstrel. Pet says, have either of you heard Clive Carroll's All This Time? His touch is so gentle on the guitar. It's like the angels are singing. I'm not religious. I haven't heard. I don't know anything about Clive Carroll. Do you know?
I do not. I've opened my generic streaming service and I'm going to download whatever appears. Clive Carroll guitar. All This Time.
There we go. I'll check it out as well. Cheers, Pet. Francois says, hey guys, hope you're all well. Any experience with the Boss OD3? OD3. Is that the octave? Is that the octave one?
Hang on. Boss.
How does it compare to the SD1?
Must be an Overdrive, surely.
Yeah.
OD3.
How does it compare to the SD1 as a gain boost into an overdriven amp like the Blue Guitar one? I've never tried an OD3.
102 quid for a yellow Boss Overdrive. Level, tone, drive, yellow, says Boss on it. Crisp distortion, rich in harmonics and dynamics. Dual stage design for bigger, fuller sounds, variable drive and tone controls. Create overdriven sounds from mild to extreme with almost endless sustain. Well, that sounds very nice.
Yeah, nice. I've never tried one. But the SD1's good. I'm sure it'd be fantastic.
It's a yellow Boss distortion. Overdrive is going to be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the Braham is in the house.
There he is. Speak up the very devil.
Hello, chaps. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. All
Perfectly.
good.
How are you, Lee?
I'm on the iMac tonight. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, good to see you here.
Yes,
Thank you, mate.
makes a nice change. Look at this. Well, one of the cats, or rats, I should say, is away.
James quit. James just sent me a message saying he quit.
Oh, well,
really?
Yeah, he's quit because it's been the most successful show. So he's not on it. He gets sensitive, doesn't he?
Bless him. Of course, we're just keeping seats warm, James. You know that, mate. You know that. Right, hang on. Before let's finish Francoise before we get into the volume thing with Lee.
Well,
have you seen the OD3, Lee?
Sorry.
Have you seen the OD3?
No, I've never used an OD3. I think I commented next actually and pointed Francois towards the SD1.
There we go.
SD1 all the way. There you go.
I mean, the only two drive boosts like that I've used are Tube Screamers, TS9s and SD1s, and I kind of went off Tube Screamers after a while because of the mid hump.
Yeah,
was a little bit too much for me. The SD1 doesn't seem to quite have that mid hump, so
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
It's a taste thing. It's a taste thing.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah. Well, since the words come up there as well, Blue Guitar Amp 1, Paul, have the good people from... In fact, James can pick one up while he's there. What about that new Amp X? Is one coming yet? It's all relative, isn't it? It's just down the road. Canada's a big place. Germany.
It's true.
What's the news there? Are you going to get one of those?
I've not had any contact with Mr. Blue since.
Has Thomas changed his number since he came on your show, Paul?
I don't know. It seems to be that there seems to be a bit of a switch around with staff. I think. Okay. Who was the Welsh guy? What's his name? Great. Oh God, I forgot his name. He's now got a YouTube channel. Anyway, the guy that used to be with Thomas that did all his sort of the videos and stuff, used to appear on Thomas's channel, has now got his own YouTube channel. That's brilliant, actually, and I will find out, and I'll post the name next week. I'll post the YouTube channel next week.
Is that the young chap that looks like Chris Buck but isn't Chris Buck?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, don't know who that is.
Okay.
Are you saying that all Welsh men look like Chris Buck?
No, not at all. It's just that there is a guy that demonstrates sort of Black Star gear and stuff, and he's from Wales, and I thought he looked a bit like Chris Buck. That's all.
I wonder who that is.
Anyway, never mind.
Hold on, give me 2 seconds. Hold on.
Whilst you're looking, Paul, I will ask Lee to share his experience from the trenches.
Richard. Oh God, sorry, Richard from Blue Guitar. There we go. Richard's now got his own YouTube channel that's brilliant, and he's really good. He does the videos really, really well. Anyway, sorry.
Nice. So pre-direct solutions, then, Lee. You're saying 50 watts is enough for any man or beast?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, so I've only owned 2 valve amps in my entire life.
Really?
One was an Orange Dark Terror, which was 15 watts.
Yeah.
And the other one was a Victory V30 Countess
when
they first came out. And I think that was 42 watts when it was on full pelt.
Yeah.
But you could knock that down to half power. And you could also knock it down to just 1 power valve if you wanted to as well. So there are all kinds of options with that amp. But I would always find, certainly when I used to play with the Victory, I always used to find that half power was enough.
Yeah.
And some gigs I would be mic'd up going through the PA, and some gigs I wouldn't be, depending on the size of the venue. I mean, some medium-sized and small pubs, you just didn't need it.
No.
If you were playing a bigger social club, which you sort of, bingo hall sort of size, you'd probably want to mic it up, put it through the PA.
Yeah.
But I'd often get funny looks from the rest of the band that I was too loud on stage. But another thing that I was going to mention is, I think I've mentioned this to Paul and see, I've forgotten his bloody name, James.
Yeah, the other bloke.
Gosh, he's out of sight for a couple of minutes.
The king is dead.
let's hope he doesn't watch this. I've mentioned this to Paul and James before. A few years ago, I went on holiday to Nashville. And when you go to Nashville, obviously there's bands playing in every bar.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of gear sharing. They do a lot of, there's amps on stage and all this kind of stuff. And some guitarists bring their own amps and all this sort of stuff. Literally, they do like a 3-hour set, then a new band turns up, and sometimes band members interchange and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, most of the stages over there in their bars have got baffles on stage.
Right.
Because their amps are just, most of the amps that you see were Fenders, of course. As you know, most of the guitar players were playing tellies as well. And I remember there was one particular gig we walked in, and the guitarist had an absolutely amazing sound. I really loved it. Whenever he played chicken picking stuff, it sounded clear and precise, and it sounded amazing. And then they played a few rock numbers, and he turned on the overdrive, and it sounded great, and it sounded really screaming. And when he finished their set and he took the baffle away, he had a Boss Katana.
Wow.
Funny that, isn't it?
And it wasn't a big Boss Katana either. I mean, this was back in 2019, so it was like 5 years ago. So they, I guess it was a Katana 1 as well. So it wasn't one of the big 2x12 ones. It was just a 1x12. So that was probably going to be 50 watts.
Well, they do a 50 and they do 100.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, and that needed a baffle on stage as well. I just think that stage volume has become a thing now, and essentially all you need is enough volume to keep up with your drummer. Really, you don't want to get lost and sucked into your drummer's sound, otherwise you'll never be heard. And from my experience, even my 15-watt Dark Terror was enough, easily enough.
And it depends on the drummer. If it's a good drummer, the drummer should be able to control his volume as well and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, quality of the drum kit helps as well. Like some drummers haven't changed their heads in 25 years, and they keep the drum kit in the garage, so it's
yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just kind of lobbed it in there as an idea. I really don't think why you'd want to turn up at the Dog and Duck with 100-watt Marshall valve head. You just wouldn't. I mean, I got a mate who does, and I just, for the life of me, I don't know why he does. So not to thought about. Everyone will be moaning that he's too loud, and I think you just get a better sound quality from keeping your volume in check, really.
I did a gig in a pub in Cambridge, and the room was like a mansion-sized living room. It was not a big venue by any stretch of the imagination, and my 30-watt Laney was barely ticking over. And this kid that had his Jack Daniels t-shirt on and his bandana around his wrist and all the rest of it had come out with a 100-watt head, and it was on less than 1, and it sounded like the proverbial.
Yeah.
There was just nothing there because it's not breathing.
No.
What's the point?
Yeah. He'd be better off bringing an attenuator with him. Just sticking in the cab. Put the master volume on 7 or 8 and put the attenuator on half.
I think you've got to price it in nowadays. If you want to use a valve amp, you've got to price into your setup an attenuator. You've got to do it because it's your amp sounds better. I mean, I don't care what the guys from that pedal show say. It does. It's the only way you can get an amp up to that sort of volume to make it sound half decent.
Yeah, but that pedal show, they're on commission with Fender amps, aren't they? So
are they?
Hook, line, and sinker, Mr. Drew.
But there we go. Oh, I'm gullible. Anyway, are you staying? You staying, Lee? You're more than welcome to, mate.
Yeah. Why not?
We've got to get through. We've got what have we got? We've got 10 minutes ish left, and we've got to bung through these questions.
I think I'll probably get another 7 or 8 more members if Lee's staying.
Thomas says, "Sir, price increase is bonkers. I'm selling all my Sirs and getting used PRSs."
Really? They've gone up even more than they are previously.
Really? Have they gone up?
I've not noticed that.
But, I mean, Sir guitars are fantastic. Yeah. Well, I didn't know they were doing that. Lee,
have they got somebody new endorsing them that has induced this price increase?
I haven't seen anyone.
Or are they just saying that there's a war in the Ukraine and there was a plague recently, so they've added 12% like everybody else under the sun?
Maybe that's what it is.
We've got all of our necks from Ukraine. We can't get any.
Yeah. Lee, you said your SC1. David said, last thing, the BC Rich from 1977, it's being supreme. Most go for over $10,000 over here. The wood is illegal in the UK. Interesting. I wonder what that wood is.
Rosewood?
What wood? Well, rose was not illegal in the UK. You've got to have the CITES.
Yeah.
Anyway, finding an original was not easy. Slash is number 6 on my least favourite players. There we go.
Who are the other 5? If Slash is number 6.
Me, you, and Lee.
Yeah.
Doug, there's now a 1400 PRS SE bonkers. That is, it's a lot of money in that. It's a lot of money.
That's a nice guitar. Well, you could have a nice guitar, couldn't you, for 1,400 quid? It probably is a nice guitar if it's a PRS.
It probably is. Thomas says, yeah, but the used market is still good. Chris, we already said thank you to Chris. Thanks, Chris. Lightwing Studios, you can buy 2 really nice houses here in Florida for that. Gosh, I wish you could buy 2 really nice houses in the UK for that.
Are we talking about the price of the Mockingbird or the Dumble?
Of the Dumble, I think. Of the Dumble. Yeah, it's crazy. English house prices are crazy, aren't they? Anyway, Chris Groom, yes.
I can't remember what that was, Chris. Sorry.
Chris Wright says, Paul, would love to know your thoughts on the Charvel DK models. Just got the walnut top DK22 gold hardware. I think it could be one of the most beautiful guitars I've ever seen. Isn't that nice?
Sounds like a happy buyer.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. I used to have Charvels back in the 90s. Yeah. They're really good guitars. They're really good guitars. I think they're different now, aren't they? They're made, I think the Charvels, they used to be made, well, you could get USA ones and then they moved them over to Japan. I think they're Indonesian or something now. But yeah, all good.
What's that ridiculous joke heavy metal band, like hair metal band from America called? Them. There's a wonderful YouTube clip of Nuno Betancourt just wandering on stage and taking a Charvel off that guy.
Yeah.
And calling it many names under the sun, but then proceeding to sound just like Nuno Betancourt. That guy's fingers. Wowzers.
Oh, it's just incredible, isn't he?
Love it. Love it.
Alexi, no lol. Davor says, sorry, I'm too late. You're right, mate. You can watch it on catch up. It's all good.
Yeah. And if you become a member, then it'd be even better. We would accept your apology twofold.
Absolutely. Not a fan of low friction, says Chris. Volume pots, though, I occasionally knock it with my finger. It's so true. The volume control on the PRS Silver Sky is really low friction.
Is it?
Actually, I think all of them are. All PRSs are. But they're really great sounding guitars. But
same with these jets. You could almost blow it round.
Really?
Same with this jet. It could almost blow it round. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Chris P. I used to have that guitar. That's the Sienna Sunburst Strat. Buy it, but use that secret credit card with no paper statements. That's a good shout.
That's 2 buy it's that we've had so far. I've seen nobody say don't buy it. So
there we go.
Yeah, he's going to have to get his checkbook out, isn't he?
Safey says Thorpe Deep Ogden is a masterpiece chorus. Vibrato pedal, really amazing. There we go.
Yeah. So who's asking about chorus pedals? I can't remember.
Yep, someone earlier. Yep.
He's stock's risen lately, isn't it? Because he's now making those Victory V1 pedals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to have leveled the brand up a bit, doesn't it?
Nice. Yeah, I haven't tried one of those yet. I've tried all the other Victory stuff, but I've not tried the V1s yet. I'll be interested in trying one out.
Yeah. Lightwing says, get a full tone tri-chorus if you can afford and find one. Yes, they always get good. Good rating. Chris Groom, 2 ohm output into a 4 ohm load will be okay. There we go.
There we are.
Chris says it's okay. If it's not,
speak to Chris.
He'll give you his Audi.
Yep, job done.
Lightwing, the people sitting around that table were the fruits and vegetables. There
What do you make of that, Lee? I mean, fruit and veg.
Gimmick, just a gimmick.
How does it get to
market? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Charles Kinsey says, just bought a JHS harmonic trem and love the combo. Nice one.
Yeah, the 3 series. 99 quid for a harmonic trem.
Brilliant.
Worth a punt.
Scooby Stat. Good evening, gents. Love the Marshall matches Katana video and the 4 Marshall volume comparison video. Can't believe the Katana won out in volume. Yeah, we're all shocked, mate. It's crazy. Chris says John Calder's amazing. He is.
Yeah, he is. Agreed.
Scooby Step, and from your reaction port, it sounded great as well. There we go. Sorry, I'm late if you discussed this already. Not at all, mate.
That's right, Scooby. If you just become a member, we'll accept your apology.
Chris B, protect amp with the surge protector extension lead. Plenary on Amazon.
Plenty on Amazon?
Yes, plenty on Amazon. Yeah. Scooby, what about just using a firm and power conditioner? I don't know if a power conditioner will deal with surges. I don't know. Maybe it will.
I think they do. I think
they'll give it more of a fighting chance, mightn't it?
James is in again. He says, hello again. I'm at the hotel now. Show looking and sounding great. There we go.
If you'd like to become a member, location recording.
There we go. Bogeyman, yup. A power conditioner for your amp is a good way to protect it. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah. John, a UPS to keep the clean power to amp.
Okay.
We could be carting around loads of things. An amp, and then all this
attenuator.
Yeah.
And all you need is a model and plug it straight into the PA.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. In fact, Lee, since you're on, before we get to Andrew's one, I listened to the Right Reverend Pete Thorne's Sunday morning thing the other day, and he's saying that he's going to use the Black Star amp in a box pedal thing as a backup. And I seem to recall, it looks like you're reaching for it. Is it that one or is it the white one? I can't remember. Similar. It's either that one or the white one. I can't remember. But you, from my recollection, are a fan.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's really good.
And not crazy money either.
No, I got it for $219, I think. And the only problem with it is you can't put your own IRs in it.
Right.
So you have to rely on the IRs that are in their software, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. Architect software. Which are okay, and you get lots of tweakability in there that you can change the mic position, and you can change the power amp type, and you can change. They even put a dial in there for power amp distortion. And then once you've set it up in the computer, you just load it into the pedal, and it transfers to the pedal, and you get to save 3 different options, and they're on a toggle switch on the pedal itself. So I would have thought that you could get the sound that you're after with a bit of tweaking. It sounds really good. Sounds good. I tried it into my I tried it live. Perhaps I was playing.
Hold on a second. Sorry, hold on a second.
Oh, is James trying to elbow his way into a stream?
Sorry, I think this is that was worth in. Pet said Jeff Beck, R.I.P. It's Jeff Beck.
Oh, good God.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think that was worthy of an interrupt.
Everyone grabs their phones.
Surely not. He was gigging the other day.
It's not come through on my version of Google yet. I do hope not.
Wiki said he's still alive.
No, it was a hoax.
I mean, Jeff Beck's like
thank God for that.
Keith, isn't he? Him and Keith will outlive all of us.
Oh, thank God for that.
Oh, that really put the muffins on my evening. Jesus.
Off you go again, lads. Go on.
I've forgotten what I was saying now. That's put me right off, that is.
Sorry.
I used it at a gig. I used the Black Star thingy at a gig. That's right. And maybe it was a crap venue we were playing that night, but and maybe it just needed a bit more tweaking. But I didn't think that it cut through the mix of a live band situation that well.
Right.
I used it for the first set, and then I changed things over and went back to the GT1 that I've got, the Boss GT1, and then that was just cutting through lovely. And I thought, oh, well, I'll just use this for live gigs. Because I try things out all the time at gigs, just to see what they're like.
Yeah, nice.
But yes, it's a good tool for at home, and it's good for recording, and it'd be great as a backup, I would think.
Yeah. Where are we? Nothing worse. Andy Drudy says nothing worse than when your clean channel starts to break up playing a funk tune. Oh, I like that. I think personally, a little bit of edge on the guitar tone. Just
a little bit of dirt will do you.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. Anything that's if it's too spanky clean, for me, it doesn't cut through a mix.
Yeah, just get lost.
Yeah. But funny, it's funny how different people, like different things.
Yeah.
Andy Drudy says Clive Carroll is amazing. There we go.
Downloaded. That's tomorrow's commute sorted.
There we go. Bruce says, I played many gigs, both in guitar and bass. Never needed more than a 50 watt for guitar, but always seemed to need a 300 watt or more for bass. Yeah, that normally happens. Matt from Distant Sun Studios. He said, evening fellas, sorry I'm a bit late tonight. Dad duty. Thanks for all the help and advice, and congratulations on the 50K subs. Great stuff as ever. Cheers, Matt. Thanks, mate. Alexi K. Oh, go and check out Matt's YouTube channel. He's doing some great videos over there, guys. So worth checking out. Alexi K.
Emoji.
Huh?
You can emoji.
You can. There you go. You can. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to bung through these. So a recent video, Ned says, a recent video by Sasha Ivantic to make any fuzz sound better. Play it through an overdriven amp or an overdrive pedal. Very true. Put my DoD Carcosa through a T-Rex Moller and it doesn't sound thin anymore. There we go. Hoax.
Man alive, Pet. Bad times.
Yeah, we were all scared. Guy B. Guys, it's true. Official Twitter account.
Really?
Apparently it's not, but let's hope it's not anyway. It says Jeff Beck has passed away at the age. He's 78.
Yeah.
Having bacterial meningitis. His family shared the sad news on Wednesday, January 11th. Nice. 8 minutes ago. Well, people are saying it's real.
Yeah, Wiki's just been updated.
It is real.
Well, certainly his wiki page has just been updated, 11th of January 2023. Date of death.
So it is true.
Looks like it.
Oh, man. Oh, we lost one of the good ones.
Hang on. He's been a guitarist killed by celebrity death hoax, Monday, 9th January. If he actually has died 2 days later, the hoax people are not going to be feeling good.
Oh, well, whatever. If it's true. Wow. But let's see. Let's hope it's not true. Damn appears to be real. There's a statement on his official Twitter account. Meningitis, apparently. He's only just doing a gig with Johnny Depp. Neck pickup and some funk grit sounds tasty to me. That's right. On behalf of his family, it's with deep and profound sadness that we share the news of Jeff Beck's passing. What a sad.
Well, we dedicate tonight's show to Jeff Beck.
Yeah. Alexia, suddenly, yeah. Yesterday. Oh, man. They're all saying stood 15 away. Lightwing says stood 15 feet away from Jeff Beck during his House of Blues gig in Orlando 15 years ago. I wept. Our tower was incredible. Yes. Yeah. On that sad note,
this is indeed a sad note, isn't it?
Yes, we'll move on from that, and that's going to stop YouTube guitar internet. Yes, very sad news if it is true. Anyway,
I don't
want to say from that.
No. Well, when Bowie died, a friend of mine did some astonishing maths about the age of the universe. Don't be sad that Bowie's dead. Be happy that you were alive at the point in which he was in the universe. At least we got a bit of him while we were knocking about. It's a sad loss, but we got the memories, haven't we?
There we go. That's a good way of looking at it. Right. On that note, cheers, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. No worries.
Should we just do the last two? Right. No more. We're going to do the last two. Okay. Quick. How does Larry Can't get those long sustained notes with what he seems a clean tone and very little gain with 335, like it was only yesterday? I'd say he might use a compressor. It wouldn't surprise me.
I'm going to throw in that in the studio it would have been at a decent volume, and he will have wandered round in said space and stood in exactly the right spot to get it to sustain.
The sweet spot,
yeah. Ned says, good night, everyone. Take care of yourselves. And yes, I think we'll leave it on that note.
I agree, Ned.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Lee, thanks for joining us. And Greg, thanks for standing in for James.
Yes, no pressure, James. You're going to need to get 6 new members next week in order to have done a better show.
He does. He needs to. He needs to pull his finger out of his butt and start working on it.
Yeah, start by being on your own show.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next week. Yeah.
Have a great week, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.